On today's episode, we're looking at 17 facts about Glock. Number 1. The first Glock pistol, the Glock 17 prototype, was designed by Gaston Glock and his team for the Austrian military, which brings us to Number 2. In 1980, the Austrian military was looking to replace their World War II-era Walther P-38. In 1982, the new Glock 17 was submitted for the trials. It had to meet 17 criteria and pass exhaustive tests. Number 3. In 1982, the now famous Glock 17 went from ideal to prototype in only 3 months, and it was designed for this trial. Number 4. Although Gaston Glock was an Austrian engineer and expert in advanced polymers, he had no experience in firearms design, so he formed a team of handgun experts from the military, police, and civilian firearms world, all who helped design the now legendary pistol. Number 5. Glock 17 passed the excruciating military trials with flying colors, and outperformed the other submissions from well-established firearms manufacturers, including Heckler & Koch's P7 and P9, the Sig Sauer P220 and 226, the Breda 92SB, and other companies, including Fabrice Nationale and Steyr, with their submission of the GB. The Glock 17 was adopted into the Austrian military with the designation P80. Number 6. Although the Glock 17 was the first commercially successful polymer frame pistol, it was not the first to try. That title goes to Heckler & Koch and their HK VP70. Side note, the VP70 was a double action, but it was also capable of 3-round burst. Number 7. In 1983, Glock could have been the U.S. Army's sidearm of choice, instead of the Breda M9. The U.S. Department of Defense had invited Glock to the XM9 personal defense pistol trials to replace the 1911 as the U.S. military's sidearm. The invitation came after the Glock company sent the DoD 4 Glock 17s for unofficial testing. But Glock declined the invitation because they would have had to make major changes and retooling to their production machinery and provide 35 test examples in what Glock considered an unrealistic time frame. Number 8. Glock firearms are used by 65% of all U.S. law enforcement, including various federal agencies, including the M series used by the FBI, and is one of the most dominant choices for 3-gun competitors across America. Number 9. It has been estimated that over 50 militaries use the Glock as their official sidearm, with one of the most recent acquisitions being in 2013 when the British Army began replacing their aging Browning high powers with the Glock 17 Gen 4. Number 10. There are no Glock pistols numbered 1 through 16. The first Glock was the Glock 17, named so because it was the 17th patent procured by Gaston Glock. Number 11. Gaston Glock was an inventor. Besides his pistols, Mr. Glock has many patents in unexpected areas, including a method and device for drying wood chips. There are also medical inventions in his long list, including a treatment for inflammatory bowel disease, a treatment for vaginitis, which I thought was a way to turn beta males and weak guys into men by giving them a Glock, forcing them to learn how to handle and shoot it, therefore turning them into men. It's not. I googled it. Number 12. One of my personal favorites of Glock's more recent inventions, and one I hope to see in the near future, is a pistol with built-in electronics, including a microprocessor and sensor that counts the number of shots fired and then displays them. Number 13. Gaston also invented a controversial method of electronically activating a firearm via transmission of a device worn by the shooter that sends a numerical code to the pistol, making it usable and ready to fire. Without this transmitter, the pistol would be little more than a paperweight. Number 14. Despite the Glock's success in the Austrian military trials, it was not well received by everyone in the shooting world. Because of its unconventional frame, people worried about its durability and longevity, and some even called it a plastic gun. Number 15. It has been said that mimicry is the highest form of flattery. If that's true, then the Glock company should feel very flattered. Besides launching the polymer frame revolution in the modern firearms industry, there are many copies of the Glock produced in various countries around the world, including Taiwan's XT97, the Turkish Ghost TR-01. Other countries include Russia and Iran, all unlicensed clones of the Glock. Number 16. there are only two countries official Glocks are made. That's Austria and the United States. The two are identical, with the exception of the American-made Glocks are marked USA on the slide. Number 17. A hitman was hired to murder Gaston Glock. Okay, not that hitman. No, our hitman was a 67-year-old French mercenary named Jacques Picheur. The assassin was hired by Mr. Glock's tax advisor, Charles Ewart, to cover up his embezzling of millions of dollars from the Glock company. The hitman attacked Gaston in a car park with a hammer and landed at least 7 blows to Gaston's head, but the spry 70-year-old fought back, and the Frenchman, holding true to French tradition, gave up his attack after receiving only 2 blows. The would-be killer received a 17-year prison sentence, then ratted out his employer, who was sentenced to 20 years. Hope you enjoyed our list. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And as always, stay safe and keep shooting, America.
Full beard manly.